Let's talk about relationships. Relationships. As an empathic, intuitive person, oftentimes our relationships can be a place where we struggle because we're very generous at seeing the spirit of others. We're very good at understanding. We're very good at compassion. We're very good at preempting other people's needs. But unless we are grounded, have good boundaries, really know ourselves and take stock of our relationships, what we can confuse as just being loving can often be people pleasing and be places of where we betray ourselves. Today, we are talking about the empathic, intuitive survival guide for healthy relationships. This video comes after speaking with my clients and in mentoring and in readings for over a week, and actually throughout my whole practice, of what I see as very common relationship pitfalls that sensitives can fall into, keeping them stuck in low self-esteem, keeping them in overgiving, blocking their relationship with the universe, with their spirit guides, all of it. So in this video, we're gonna be talking about some of these very common relationship traps on how to spot them and how to overcome them. So before we go any further, hi, I'm Sonia. I'm a fourth generation intuitive, and I teach you how to plug back into your innate divine self, your intuition. And if you're new here, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. If you're returning, welcome back. Don't forget to hit subscribe, that little bell notification, and definitely check out all of my free resources below, including my family podcast with my mom and my sister. We talk about living an intuitive life. Okay. Enough housekeeping. Let's get into it. So this video really comes from not only my own personal experience when I was younger of having to learn what was a lot of times my compassionate, empathic superpower was my Achilles heel. But these same patterns that I see throughout my work one-on-one with people for over a decade. And these traps are toxic to our spirit, to ourselves, and often keep us in relationships that don't allow us to grow and feel like we continually have to try harder. So let's get into it. The very first one, and this one is huge: understanding too much. What I mean by this is when we are as empathic, intuitive people, oftentimes what we are really good at is seeing the spirit of people, seeing their wonderful gifts, seeing what it is that they have to offer, seeing how oftentimes where they need healing and support. Red flag, huge red flag. When I say understanding too much, what that boils down to is that we can often excuse bad, toxic, unhealthy behavior by understanding why they acted that way. Maybe they you got into a fight and they attacked your character, but then all of a sudden you're like, well, I understand that they had a hard day at work and they came from a traumatic background and blah, 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 blah. The list goes on, it's never ending. There always can be a reason why. Now, that isn't actually compassion or empathy. It's actually using our intellect to talk ourselves out of having a feeling or reaction or even a boundary. So be aware of understanding too much. My therapist, Anna Maria, who I love, shout out Anna Maria, once said, understanding doesn't create change. So the moment that we can let go of trying to understand the people that we're in relationship with and the why, instead of just getting clear of what is acceptable and what is not. Second, and I'd say this comes a lot to fighting, disagreements, conflict. A lot of empathic, intuitive people really shy away from it. They find it scary. They find it overwhelming. But conflict actually breeds intimacy because it allows us to know what we're pushing up against. Now, when in conflict, this also means that we have to have some rules of the road. So what I mean by that is making sure that any disagreement does not include attack of character or is malicious in intent. If you have a family member, a partner, anyone who attacks your character. Instead of their behavior, how they made you feel, that is a absolute no. Time for a boundary, walk away, use your right and left foot. That is a do not pass go, no matter what, no matter why. So that is also a really important, thinking about your rules for conflict, because when we have healthy relationships, that also means that we can disagree. Thinking about for yourself, for myself, some of my rules for conflict are: 1, not attacking my character. 2, for me, I get overwhelmed. So I oftentimes, if I'm in conflict and need a moment, I give myself a timeout, telling my partner or whoever I'm with that I need a moment to collect, to organize my thoughts before coming back into the disagreement. And really being able to work it out. Sometimes that can even say, hey, I need a 5-minute timeout. I'm gonna set my timer and I will come back and we are not talking. Now, the reason why this is so important is that in conflict, what happens is our heart rate raises and actually our ability to listen to each other narrows. And with empaths, we can often have a lot of anxiety, a lot of emotion that really surges through us. So to have practices that are self-loving ahead of time, knowing what it is that you want, will help you better navigate any and all relationships. So this brings me to number 3, not seeing your partner or relationship in rose-colored glasses. Now, this even comes to number 1. Oftentimes we can be idealists and see the best in people, but that doesn't allow us to be grounded in reality and be discerning. When we can only see the good in people, that is a way that we are actually trying to people please, where we negate our own experiences and end up in toxic relationships that help feed low self-esteem, low self-worth, feeling that we have to try harder. And in reality, we don't have to try harder, we have to try less hard. So in taking off the rose-colored glasses, to just see what is so in present time. Your intuition and your spirit resides in the present moment. The more that you can be present and discerning, with love, it's not judgment, it's discernment. The more that we can make choices founded in self-love in all of our relationships. And last, I'd say the big thing, a huge pitfall that I see with empathic and intuitive people very often is overly taking responsibility. And what I mean by that is when something goes wrong, when somebody's having an issue, let's say your partner can't pay their rent or a girlfriend is having a hard time. Often that empathic, intuitive place can get into people pleasing, where we want to fix, manage, solve other people's problems because they're uncomfortable and we feel the discomfort in our own bodies. So instead of having a practice, even like hand on our heart, hand on our belly, my favorite tool of all time, or even just taking a breath, we take on their problems, hoping that in doing that, we can give ourselves relief by trying to control the situation. So don't be overly responsible. Pay attention. What is my half of the yard? And before agreeing to anything, check in. Is this a generous, heart-centered yes with no strings attached? Am I trying to fix, manage, solve, manage somebody else's emotions? Then that is a big red flag to stop, pause, and take a moment. So I hope that you enjoyed some of these really big flags and tools around navigating relationships as an empathic, intuitive person. I know that for myself, it has been a learning curve, but one that has been wonderful because it's given me a lot more self-worth, grounding, and has improved not only the quality of my relationships, but life overall. So leave me a comment. Let me know what you think. What's your favorite tool? I cannot wait to hear from you. And I will see you next week with another video. Sending you all my love. Bye.